Hi, good afternoon. This is Ricky Hough. He's a friend from local, another bird watcher, and I'm going to ask him the bird interview questions. So, here we go. Are you ready?
Yep, it's far away.
How long have you been bird watching?
I got into it around the time of the big lockdown. There was nothing else to do, so being let out with a camera, that's where it all started, really.
Exactly the same.
Yeah.
The second question's, what got you into bird watching?
Well, no, it is a different answer.
Okay.
Down at Swalcliffe, there's a breeding pair of kestrels, and I was sitting on the beach one day watching my other half search for sea glass, and I could hear a noise behind me. Didn't know what the noise was, and there's a platform by Swalcliffe Brook, and there were kestrels on there feeding their chicks. I was like, wow, what was that? I think the next week I went and bought a bridge camera, went down, and that was it. That was the hook that got me into watching birds, but it really took off in lockdown. But those kestrels, they were the key to starting bird watching, those two kestrels.
Great answer. What's your usual setup?
Usual setup, I've got a 180 to 600 lens on my Nikon Z8, so it's all F-mount. I use it mainly for speed, nice 20 frames per second. Otherwise, I actually don't know what it does.
Anything else? Scope, bins, notepad?
Oh yeah, I've got some nice 12 by 50 bins, and I do keep last year is the first time I kept a bird list, just to see, without trying, how many birds I actually saw without trying to go out of my way to see birds. So I do keep a local bird list, but yeah.
Okay, favourite non-optic bit of kit?
My blower, lens blower, blows all the dust out from in there and on there. I find that quite useful. Saves a lot of, if you wipe a lens with a cloth and you get it wrong, smears, blower gets it all off. Good stuff.
It's true. Okay, favourite area, nature reserve?
I'd have to say it's probably Ore Marshes. I know it's a bit scopy. You don't always get stuff close to you, but I find it just, there's no aeroplane noise, there's no motorway noise, there's no parakeets as well, which is quite nice. So yeah, it's Ore Marshes is my favourite place, and it's Freeth Park as well. So.
Okay, here's a good one. Best bird watching moment?
First time I saw puffins at Bempton, Flamborough Head. There's a beach called North Landing, and it was our last day there. I remember it was so windy. The wind was blowing so hard against my face. There was snot coming everywhere. It was dried against my face, and it was dark. It was 7 o'clock at night. It was raining, and all of a sudden a puffin literally appeared from here to kind of 10, 15 foot away. Just dived down on the floor, and it was right there, and it was carrying it had a feather. It was carrying feathers and stuff, where it was taking it back to its burrow to decorate its burrow. It was just right there, and we just sat and watched it for about an hour, literally just hanging over the edge of the cliff. Took about 1,500 pictures in an hour. That's probably my favourite best birding moment ever. That was excellent.
Very nice.
Never forget it as well.
You just missed it. A jay landed on that fence, looked at us and flew off.
Excellent. Yeah. See, I didn't lie about the jays. I told you there were jays up here somewhere.
So here's a good one. A horrible question. Your biggest dip?
Oh Christ, this kind of feels never ending. That
One that really sticks in your mind, like, like you've been back several times to try and recreate it or something.
Do you know what? I'd say it's the sparrowhawks around here. I'd found where they were nesting, and someone went in, disturbed the nest, and they flew away, and they've never come back. I still see them flying about, but they never came back. So I went from knowing everything about a pair of birds, and overnight knowing nothing about it. I was quite gutted about that, and I've been back every weekend since, never found them again the way I did that time. That's probably the most upsetting part I've had, I would say.
Those pesky dog walkers.
Yep, dog walkers.
Okay, here's a similar kind of question. Equipment failure that cost you?
Never had one.
No, not like something broke down, but just like you had the wrong setting, or like, oh no, I didn't have this.
Forgetting to do, that's many times. The worst one I had, I was at Ore, and there's a bit you walk between Ore where the car park is, and to a bit called Dan's Dock. And I'd just seen a female hen harrier, so I'd just seen a ringtail, got a really crap picture of it, but it was a good record shot. I looked over towards the swale, and a osprey was coming down, and I just couldn't, it didn't matter what I did, manual focus, spot focus, I just could not get focus on it. And I probably missed it was probably less than 50 metres away, and it filled the frame because it was massive. That's probably the one kicker. You know, you're always kicking yourself, and you go back, you never see it again. So yeah, that was a bit of a gutting moment.
I've just had mine come back to mind, and I'm like getting angry about it. I'm trying not to think about it. What is or are your bogey birds?
Little owl. Every time I go to Elmley, never seen it.
Whoa.
Every single time I've been there, I've never seen it, and that's a bit of a bogey bird for me. And I'd have to say, Med Gulls as well. Just cannot ever seem to get a good picture of Med Gulls. I've been to Elmley, they've been there, never close enough. They've always been dots in the distance, but
I can help you on that. If you go to the north side of Sheppey, they're on the beaches, all over the beaches. What about your strangest experience that stands out?
Didn't have my camera that day, but it's on this track. I was just going for a peaceful walk just to get my steps done. And just further on down, there's like a hump where the water collects, and it's quite a large. It's not a clean pond. It's not where birds live, but they go in there to wash. I was walking past it, and a buzzard. It literally went straight past my face, and I absolutely crapped myself because it was, you know, it's this big. It's like, whoa, what's going on? That was probably the biggest whoa moment I've ever had while, and I didn't even have my camera, so yeah, gutted about that.
You wouldn't have caught that anyway.
Oh, without a doubt, but it was.
You would have needed
like,
a phone camera.
Man, when it was, you know, you've got a bird that's 4 foot wide about-ish. Yeah, that was a bit of a moment. And I have to say another wild moment is the gannets at Bempton. And if you get the wind right, and they're flying right above your head, and the noise that their wings make.
Okay.
You're just in awe of that. You're sort of staring like that.
Is it like the sound swans make when they fly? That's really
exactly.
noisy,
That's just a massive a soaring noise. A really loud soaring noise is the best way. And they're wider than I am tall, so they're just, again, madly impressive bird. And when they're sort of flying right over your head, and you're getting peppered in bird poo, and it's just great. You know?
Yeah, they caught me. It stinks of fish.
It does
Luckily,
stink.
I had.
Yeah.
If you go there, have wet wipes. I'm telling you.
It does stink.
What's your current goal bird?
I would probably say it's the little owl at the minute. That's my. I know you've got to make a special journey for it, but that's the next one on my target is the little owl for sure.
Good answer. Do you travel? Favourite place or travel goal?
I don't travel, mainly because I really hate airports. I love flying, but I hate airports, and I hate the experience, and so I try and stay in the country. This year we're off to Skomer Island, which is mildly exotic because it is in Wales, so you know it's kind of a different country. But no, I don't travel too much. I do tend to stay in England. Love to go to Mull, see some golden eagles.
If you could go somewhere distant.
After seeing your trip to Fraser Hill, was that Kuala Lumpur?
Yeah.
That, I'd have to say I would plump for that. That looks like a really cool place to go.
What about Costa Rica?
I think I preferred the species you got in Kuala Lumpur, actually, yeah.
Right, what's the furthest you've travelled for one bird?
It is Bempton. And that's for puffins.
Okay.
That was the whole trip was centred around seeing puffins.
What about, discount that for a second, there are a lot of birds there. What about a single bird, just like you heard about it on the socials or on bird guides or Facebook, and you travelled, even if it's just 10 miles?
That would be the snow bunting at Swellcliffe. And I know it's not a million miles away, and I don't actually like going on twitches very much. It's just not how I like to operate, but that's for a specific target bird. That's probably the longest I've been. What's that, 60-ish miles down to Swellcliffe, something like that?
Yep.
Yeah, that's probably the furthest I've been for a specific bird. So,
okay. What lists do you keep? Life list, local, patch?
It all goes on the same list. So I've got like a Google document on my phone, and update it every year. Just start a new one, start fresh, and I just put everything that I've seen, mainly because I know where the birds are that I've seen them. So I just have one big long list.
Not like I saw it local. I saw. Okay, no. Cool. What's your biggest wind-up in the hobby? Oi, oi.
Do you know what? It's people that let their dogs just run out of control in protected places as well. And if you try and right them, you're just going to get a mouthful of abuse every single time. And that's probably more jarring than stepping in the poo.
Yes, agreed.
You know, I've been again on marshes or along the swale, and you've literally got people letting their dogs run through the mud where the tide's gone out, where you've got curlew, a few species of gull, you've got turnstones, all that sort of stuff. They're all in the mud, and there's dogs literally just chasing them all away. And you can't tell them otherwise. That's a bit annoying.
Okay, that's the end, and we're going to finish with your socials and how to follow you.
Well, I've just started a page on Facebook. It's called The Totally Amateur Photographer. Easy to find. I've got a picture of a kingfisher on a stick. I never really kept socials before, just because this is a form of escapism for me. So I come out to get peace and quiet, but people kept asking me what socials I had, so I thought I'd better set one up. So The Totally Amateur Photographer on Facebook.
We were just walking and a couple stopped to ask what we were looking at, and they said they know someone called Ricky Hough. I was like, here he is. So he's famous.
Yep, so you'll see a lot of my work go into the if you live locally in the area, in the SE9 area, you'll see a lot of my pictures on the SE9 website and their magazine.
Awesome. Nice one, mate. Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Justin.
My first interview. Hope you enjoy it.